All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the live stream. My name is Matt Bailey. I'm the National Ambassador for the Scotch Malt Whisky Society here in Australia. We are the leading whisky club around the world, including Australia, which we love all of our members dearly, and we love experiences we host for our members, and we love sharing and talking about and educating and entertaining on great whisky, which is what society is all about. Tonight, however, is a, I won't say short broadcast. It's just a shorter than normal. It was not going to be a 2-hour marathon. Let's put it that way. On August, I almost said July because we're still in July. Brain's in July, where it should be in August. August Outturn, pardon me. Friday the 7th of August. That's about as late as an Outturn has ever fallen for a while. There's as Andrews once said before, there's 2 things in life that are certain. 3 things in life that are certain. Death, taxes, and Outturn falls on the first Friday of every month. Now, pardon me, bit of a throat bug. Now, if there's Outturn falls on the first Friday of every month, it's a late first Friday for August. It's the Friday the 7th of August. John Blunt, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. It's the first Friday is the 7th, so we've still got a bit of a way to go. It's a week from tomorrow, but that means that the Outturn is released tomorrow for you to read, the one I'm holding right here. The theme is flavor invasion and looking to the future and past of whiskey. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the preliminary talk. This is a pre-Outturn discussion tonight. That sounds like exactly what it is. In the meantime, I'm going to pour a dram of 64.114 Exuberant Bounty of Fruit. A 13-year-old in the sweet, fruity, and mellow profile. Bottled at a respectable 56% ABV. There we go. Pop that there out of the way. So, out of the way. You know what? The first thing you notice about the color on this whiskey is that it's so light in color. 13 years in oak, 13 years in refill bourbon, which is hashtag team refill here. Lemon meringue pie, Turkish delight, flying sauces, and curd royale. Plum tart, blood orange sorbet, honey, lemon puffs, and oak. Sounds fun. Sounds like fun to me. Sounds like the kind of stats I enjoy in a whiskey. It's definitely a refill. That's lovely. You know what? The fruit on that one will take some time, and I've added a bit of water to most of the times I've tried this already, and I'm going to do that straight away with this one as well. Just a dash, just to open up the aromas in that one. James Carden says, Carden, I hope I'm saying that right. I was going to say Caden. I think it's Carden. James, you're welcome to correct me on that. A powerful potion will cure what ails you. It's always the case that as soon as just before you go live is when you accidentally inhale some dust or something, and you get a bit of a a throat bug, which I didn't have 5 minutes earlier, but only at 1 minute to 7 before I go live does that happen. Of course. So pardon me. Lovely. The curd royale, actually, the neck pour in this bottle, that's an interesting subject in itself. At what point does a whiskey taste its best? There's a lot of people that don't believe in neck pour. They think it's a Caden. Caden. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate that. So there's a lot of people who think that neck pour in a whiskey is in the first pour off the bottle is often the worst. And some people also say that the last pour of the bottle is also the worst. I don't think there's truth in either of that. I think you'll find strengths and weaknesses in both. But I've got some huge announcements tonight, by the way, huge, about tomorrow's Outturn and other things coming up. This is really exciting. So I'm going to bring up my screen just to show you what we can expect in tomorrow's Outturn release. It's not the release of Outturn. It's just the release of Outturn available for your viewing pleasure in ahead of Friday the 7th of August is the first Friday. So let's have a look at it, shall we? I'm going to bring my screen up here so you can see it. Here we go. So first of all, there's the cover. You know what? I love the cover art on these things. I think it's just so exciting, and there's so much like quirkiness and intrigue that goes into it. Oh wow, Irina. Okay, Irina says it's weird, but neck pours are my favorite for Ardbegs. I'm going to interrupt my own train of thought here about Outturn and say I completely know where you're coming from. And I don't just think it's for Ardbegs. I think it's actually for peated whiskey in general. And that could be because I think a lot of that could do with the fact that you've got there's so much of that pungent peat that's been locked away in that bottle. And if you've ever opened a bottle of, say, Lafroig, and you've drunk maybe 7/8 of that bottle, leave like just a pinch at the bottom, maybe 100 mils or so, sitting at the bottom of that bottle, put it aside. This is a bit of a waste of whiskey, I fully understand, but put it aside and then grab that bottle again in, say, 3 or 6 or 12 months. It won't even taste like Lafroig anymore. It would have lost a lot of its peat. The oxidization would have diminished the heavy peat aspects of that whiskey. However, that's why I'm funny about oxidization and the discussion around it, because I believe oxidization is a thing, obviously, and I just think that it has different effects on different whiskeys entirely. So you have some whiskeys that actually improve with oxidization. I think sherried whiskeys, and in some cases, quite old whiskeys improve with a bit of time open. But at the same on the flip side of that coin, peated whiskeys don't improve with oxidization. Generally speaking, they generally crumble a bit. In fact, they become a bit. You lose that peat punch. You lose that tropical peat punch at the beginning, which Ardbegs often have. Actually, I don't say tropical with Ardbeg. I say it's got like a lemon zest sometimes for Ardbeg as a general to their spirit quality. Like grilled lemons is a common tasting note for Ardbeg. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. So we'll go back to Outturn for a second here. This is the cover of Outturn. Of course, I was also just holding that cover just a moment ago, which you can see there. But that's the cover for Outturn there. Flavor invasion, and it's about an invasion of flavor on the senses with a new cluster of out-of-this-world whiskies. The reason we've gone with flavor invasion is, like I said, it's like a throwback to sort of future and past. A member actually very rightly picked up that there's some old bottle livery in the artwork, and he's not wrong. If you have a look here, there you go. I hope that's coming out on the screen. All right. That's actually a bit of an older bottle livery right there, which I think is kind of cool. It's a bit of a sort of a throwback almost to the old society, and I think it's a bit of sort of there's people from the future. He looks like a futuristic alien with his futuristic cask there, going back in time to get that whiskey, which is maybe a bit of a throwback in a way. It's like, you can always there's always more whiskey, but sometimes we want to go back in time to go, well, what was it like back then? And I think that's really cool. That's the cool thing about old whiskey is it's a time capsule of another era of distilling and tasting whiskey. The peat becomes generic and plain and sooty. Yeah, Irina, I totally agree. I know exactly what you mean. Nick Huzik asks, would you say it's more peat or more smoke which is lost with oxidization? That's a really good question, Nick. I'm going to go with, I think it's actually more peat. It's more of that sort of like peat, the peat note that sort of like the damp earth note often dissipates on some whiskies, but on others the smoke vanishes entirely. A good point would be even something, if we're talking core range for a moment, something like a Lagavulin 16 is a whiskey that I find has a fair whiff of smoke when you first open it. I find that a smoky whiskey, whereas I'd call Ardbeg 10 and whatnot a peaty whiskey. And it is really important to differentiate between the two. And there is, you can read, it's a great little article on the Society website about the difference between peat and smoke. So if you want to read more about that, members are all welcome to access that content on our smws.com.au/news. However, if you're the smoke often dissipates on quite heavily on Lagavulin, and if you leave a half-empty bottle of Lagavulin 16, which I accidentally did once, I had a Lagavulin 16. I was enjoying it, got about halfway down. I put the bottle on the shelf. It got pushed back by other bottles. You know how it works. And then suddenly you come back to it years later. It was literally about 3 years after then, and there wasn't a whiff of Isla in that bottle after that. It was like sweet. It was sweet and sherry notes and a slight sort of coastal note, but all the smoke had gone. And that's going to happen. And that's a good question though. I think it depends on the whiskey, Nick, but generally speaking, I find peat dissipates faster than the smoke. Hope that helps. Where was I? So flavor invasion, like I say, and there's a cover. Now, I'm going to make the first reveal here of what's going on in Outturn. There is 12.39 in the Juicy Oak and Vanilla profile, a first fill ex-bourbon barrel from Distillery 12, which is really exciting because that distillery is getting a lot of profile, a lot of support at the moment. A lot of people getting really excited by this distillery. It was purchased up along with Glenglassaugh and Glendronach by Brown-Forman Group in 2016, and I think they've hit their stride in a new way of promoting their single malt range. and I think that's a good thing. I mean, they've really sort of turned a corner and are making some great whiskies. This is, of course, distilled in the previous era, like a lot of their whiskies. So 2009, it is a Space Hider. It's a first fill ex-bourbon barrel. It's a single cask first fill ex-bourbon barrel, 58.5% juicy oak and vanilla. We're offering that up to members in a week from tomorrow. That's our malt of the month. Rob Agar says the phenol compounds related to peat are usually as oxidized as they're going to get. That's right. So there you go. It's we won't get too nerdy about phenol compounds and creosotes and all those kind of things tonight. But that's a great comment there, Rob. So that is our malt of the month. It's a 10-year-old single cask from starts with B, the distillery, but we're going to call it Distillery 12. And it shares a stable, as I say, at Brown Forman with Glenn Glassow and Glenn Dronach. No, so Nick, here you go. Great question. Is this 12 peated? Distillery 12 New Make tastes like raspberry jam on toast. That's a really cool tasting note, Nick. And I really appreciate you saying that one. It's like, I know what you mean by that raspberry jam on toast. It's like that jammy sweet note to their New Make. And I have tasted their New Make. It's fantastic. So you're going to find similar characteristics with this. Like it's got those, it even says on the flavor notes, sweet toffee flavor, childhood memories of yogurt, strawberry candies. It even says in Outturn on the full description here that it has, sugared summer strawberries, which is what it's called. Toffee and fudge, fresh ginger, slightly oaky, palm tree sap, rhubarb crumble, warm rhubarb crumble with custard. That sounds nice. So that's malt of the month. You'll find out how much we're going to do that for tomorrow. But it's nicely reduced. It's a first fill bourbon barrel, and it's going to be a cracking whiskey. The reason why I want to talk about, so to answer your question, Nick, no, this is not peated. This is not a peated 12. But what I wanted to actually talk about with malt of the month, we've had a few months previously, like June, July, August, a little bit around that period, where the expectation of malt of the month has far exceeded what we were able to allocate. We do apologize. That does happen. No one predicted how well they were going to go, and they've gone a lot better than we'd hoped. Not than hoped, a lot better than we expected. So where I wanted to go with that is saying that we are changing our malt of the month allocation process. This is all through Andrew Durbidge, our settle master, who's looked after this. Basically, what this means is instead of having malt of the month with like 24 bottles available, and then they're all gone in 60 seconds, and you've got another 24 members who are upset they didn't even get a chance to get one. Malt of the month, starting from August Outturn, we'll have a little bit of a fatter allocation, which is nice. And in this case, we're kicking off with 60 bottles. So 60, which is really good. That's a much bigger than 24 or 36 as we've seen recently. It's more than double in one case. And that's a way for us to be able to make sure that it's shared around for everyone. The second thing we've done in this case as well, just to safeguard ourselves a bit and make sure it's as fairly distributed as possible, we have limited malt of the month to one per member until the 17th of August, so 10 days after Outturn, or until sold out. Unless sold out prior. We can't guarantee there won't be, because there's thousands of members and there's 60 bottles of malt of the month. So there'll be at least quite a few people who want that, but we want to make sure that it's limit one per member. I think that keeps it really fair. It's at a great price for a single cask from that distillery, especially one that is a rich and delightfully sweet example like that one is. And I'm hoping next Friday on Outturn Day, I'll get to preview it. We're still waiting for some of the stock to come in. Fingers crossed the shipments all land in time, because something big's happening next Friday. Something big is happening next Friday on live, which I'm really excited to preview for you shortly. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Let's go back to the slides, though. I'll just bring that up nice and close for us all to see. Here we go. We can all see that there now. It's my how do you like my resolution? There we go. So that's our malt of the month for Friday week, and that's really exciting. I'm excited by that. So pull out on that. That's great. Oh, keeps going. There we go. Now let's have a look at something else on the other end of the spectrum. We have the Vaults Collection 24.140. I sort of teased this out, and I saw some great beams come out of it earlier today. This is a Vaults Collection 24.140, Outturn 1 of 565. It is a refill ex-sherry butt from Distillery 24. It's a 30-year-old whiskey, sherried single cask from Distillery 24. I probably don't need to say too much about Distillery 24, let's be honest, because it's already a distillery of great renown. Everyone knows this distillery. Everyone knows it as the single malt that James Bond drinks. Everyone knows it as the epitome of what sherried whiskies should be, and I mean that. It's so, you see online sometimes people like to chastise this distillery because it's mostly because they like it's tall poppy syndrome. They've been making some of the best whiskies in the world for centuries now. So like they are one of the best for a good reason. Andy Davis says that is great news. I've missed out on so many times because I'm not always unavailable or at the stroke of midday. Andy, I'm not going to say I don't know how quickly this Malt of the Month is going to go because of it, but I do know that it is great news. It absolutely is, and look, it means that it might sell out in 2 minutes rather than one, Andy. So don't get your hopes up just yet. I'm just saying we're trying to make sure that we've got at least a bigger allocation for Malt of the Month, because the demand is often been quite strong given what Malt of the Month has been lately, including this one, which I think is a cracking good whiskey. So thank you, Andy, for the feedback. Always good to hear from you, mate. Rowan says, put a bottle away for the Christmas event. You know, Rowan, you are that's a very cheeky remark, and I respect it, and I'll take it on board, but probably not, because they're all going to be pretty popular, I think. However, I do have actually a bottle sitting in the warehouse, which I will be opening at the Christmas event. Fingers crossed we can have a Christmas event. Let's just start with where we can go from here rather than what we hope for. So that is our 24.140 Sublime Nectar. It's a 30-year-old sherried whiskey, single cask from this distillery. It's probably the nectar of the gods, as it says in the tasting note. It's probably the rarest, in context, probably one of the rarest whiskeys that the society's ever bottled. Now, I think personally, I think that's rather cool. To be able to have access to these kind of stocks and have distilleries and trust us to bottle these kind of spirits. And if I'm being completely honest, at about half the price of the core range at 43% version of this whiskey, I think is very cool. And we've only got 12 bottles available of that one. So we'll do what we can. We punch well above our weight. But that's what we're looking forward to next month, August. So next week. And that's really exciting. I'll talk more about that later. But the reason why I want to talk about how it's sort of back to the future sort of theme to it, like a sort of a flavor invasion, a bit of sort of futuristic. This is an old school whiskey. Let's be honest. This is like one of those distilleries that is renowned for its history, its pedigree, its sherried whiskeys. However, let's have a look at this next whiskey here in the lineup, and that is something else I wanted to just do a little bit of a preview on tonight, just to show you what's coming up. 128.9 is also an Outturn. Now, this is called electrochemistry, but it's actually sort of called electric chemistry. Get it? This is the Welsh. It's a Welsh whiskey. Society's bottled whiskey from Scotland, from Japan, from England, from India, all over now. America, of course. We've bottled whiskey from so many different continents, and we're working on Australia. Don't need to ask. But there's, it's so good to see that we've got access to these incredible New World whiskies coming through, like electrochemistry here as well. 128.9, a second fill bourbon barrel, aged 9 years in the light and delicate flavor profile. I had a member asking me recently, how come we don't see too many whiskeys in spicy and dry or light and delicate or heavily peated? And that's because they are lesser seen categories sometimes. Sometimes they come in waves. We'll see a few spicy and dries coming through, thankfully. But and some heavily peated and some light and delicate. So they come through in waves, and it's not always just like, it's good to see different flavor profiles come through like this. And to have a cask strength whiskey, in this case 59.8% at cask strength, is rather cool. We've got 30 of that coming in. The panel says the panel found this one immediately sweet, fruity, and herbal. Notes of geraniol, sapwood, lemon verbena, grass, vanilla, and fresh sandalwood were recorded. Grapefruit, orange cordial, gorse flower. This sounds like a really complex whiskey. And this is there was a great discussion that I saw with Peter Bignell. We've had him on the stream before, who was talking about how there's such a diverse flavors and complexity that can be had out of younger whiskies. This is youngish. 9 years is a long time for it to sit in oak. But this is even down the bottom, it has lots of unusual notes of aspirin, limoncello, brambles, strawberry, and mango. Notes like that are unusual in whiskey. And this is why this will be an interesting whiskey. It's light and delicate. It's a cask strength, but light and delicate. I always like that kind of stuff. Luke says, I'll take on to mate. Unrelated. I need to borrow your credit card next Friday. I'm glad those things are unrelated. Luke, if you're not careful, I'll bill your account for all 12. See how quickly it bounces. No, we wouldn't do that. But this is but you can't borrow my credit card. That would bounce too if you tried to bill me for 12 of those 24.140s coming in. But this is an exciting, like I said, this is an exciting development into New World whiskey and taking a bit of a different approach. I've been talking so much. I'm going to have a dram. Bear with me. So something like this is exciting because there's so much character in it. It's got so much going on in it, and it's a New World whiskey from a New World whiskey distillery. I'll write a bit more about this distillery as we come closer to Outturn, but well worth checking out. Don't just discount it because it's young or it's from Wales or whatever like that. It's always these little undercurrents of New World whiskies that you're gonna pop up here and there that I think if you throw away without any consideration, you'll be disappointed. Question from Rob Akers: is the 24 ballot? It is not. It is not ballot. There's 12 bottles available. They'll be available on Friday the 7th. It is, however, limit one per member. We did have some members who have already asked if they could get two. No, you cannot. That's the way it works. No. Wales is not New World, Robert, but this distillery certainly is. Without looking it up directly right now, I'm pretty sure this distillery was founded around 2002 or 2004 or something like that. Maybe as early as 96. Really not that long ago. I'm guessing, I'm shooting at this point. I've got no idea what year it was, but it wasn't that long ago. It was like 20 something, maybe 20 years ago this distillery was founded. So this cask is this one here is as half as old as the distillery itself, perhaps. I'd need to check that out. But it's not so. No, Wales is not. 2004. So thank you, Luke. I really appreciate that. I knew I was close. I said 04. Did I say 02? It doesn't matter. So this is what I'm saying is this distillery is barely 16 years old. Barely. So it's a 16-year-old distillery. This is a 9-year-old whiskey from that distillery. So being able to get this is a mature stock for them. And this being able to taste this would be fantastic. And I think being able to have access to these kind of things is even more interesting from a Welsh distillery. Good. Founded in 2001. Thank you, Jordan. Yes, there we go. I'm keen how much. Everything will be revealed on the pricing on Outturn. Will be revealed tomorrow when Outturn is released. So I didn't want to talk pricing tonight. We're just talking about flavor. We're talking about what's coming up. To be completely honest with you, because the price isn't in that thing right now, I can't recall directly off the top of my head how much it is. But it's not going to be prohibitive. It's a 9-year-old New Worldish. So see how we go. Evening, Matthew. Thank you, Alexandra Darlenberg. Good evening, Alexandra Darlenberg. Is there, Andrew Cuff asks, is the 24 $249? Andrew, no. It's a 30-year-old whiskey, sherried whiskey from that distillery. I'm going to go with no. That's all. That's my whole answer to that. So there we go. No, I mean, come on. I mean, it's true. It's true. I don't know what the pricing is until it's anyway. It'll all be there tomorrow. Don't worry. It's not much. It's not a prohibitively expensive whiskey if compared to what most 9-year-old New World whiskeys would be. Let's say it's probably higher than a 9-year-old Space Cider, but we're talking different economies of scale. We're talking different production costs. It's probably not even $2,490. Yeah, bro. Even if your decimal's in the wrong spot, you're probably still wrong. Look, if I think I gave a pretty big clue when I was talking about that 24 to 140 just a moment ago, because it's I said it's less than half the price of the core range equivalent. So it's not cheap, but it's also not absurd. And we're also talking something, the core range. I mean, let me just be really clear here. The core range is a mixture of casks, okay? That's fine. This one is single cask. The core range is 43%. 43. So they've taken that spirit, they've blended it, and then they've watered it down before you even get to it. I don't think that's fair. I think you should be able to water down your own whiskey. There you go. Sue me. So, and that was 43%. Nothing, again, that's nice, but you may wish it had just a bit more body. Alcohol itself, as a compound, carries flavor. It does. It works in every aspect. That's why a beer at 6.8% tastes fuller and is richer in flavor than a beer that is at 3.5%. No one enjoys light beers. Why is that? Well, some people do. No biggie if you do. Really good question from Andrew Cuff. Has Distillery 128 released any age statements themselves? I don't think so. I know their core range, and I know that they call them the what's the name for it? They use like different names, like they do that thing like a bit like what Star would do. They use like names like Solera and Nova and things like that. So off the top of my head, no, I don't think I've ever released anything with an actual stated age statement. Maybe they have. I think there was an 8-year-old. I think they released or something at one point. I can't remember it. Surely 24,140 price. No, Nicholas, you could almost buy all of them for that, but no, it's not that much. Put it this way: you can have a 30-year-old Distillery 24 or a 10-year-old VW Golf. James, you know what? That's an interesting comparison because I'm a bit of a car guy. I do enjoy my motoring, and if that Golf is 10 years old and it was maybe a really pristine GTI, then maybe, but at the same time, if it was a 30-year-old Golf, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not going to go down that path. I'll end up. The Price is Right, SMWS edition. Unpronounceable. Yes, the new Welsh unpronounceable whiskey. That's correct. Legend, myth, Celt. Luke, you could be pulling my leg right now. I've got no idea what they were called. But maybe I have heard legend. Would you buy a whiskey called the Myth? This was a mythical whiskey. I wouldn't. Sorry, I'm really funny about names on things like that. I think that's a bit silly. Yeah, I think there was one called Legend. I remember that one. But I'm going to assume you're not pulling my leg, and that's what they actually called their range. I'm sure they're lovely whiskeys. I remember tasting a couple of them years ago. I mean, like 5 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, I remember tasting a few of them. I think they were bottling then at all 41% ABV. And I remember thinking one of them was really quite nice. Actually, the bourbon cask was really nice. There was a wine cask or a port cask or something like that, which was a bit chalky. And I thought they had still a long way to go. I mean, a lot of these new old whiskey distilleries are still finding their feet, finding their flavor. My hair's doing crazy things tonight, sorry. And just not quite all locked in with what they're trying to do yet. And finding their feet, finding their flavor. If you imagine what a Scottish distillery looked like and tasted like in the early 1700s, so I'll say late 1700s, you probably, they probably didn't know what their spirit was meant to taste like yet. Would have tasted light years away from how it tastes now, probably for the worst. Myth. Yeah, there we go. We come for the hair flick, we stay for the whiskey chat. Robert, Dr. Akers, I really appreciate that. My hair flick is now a registered trademark of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. So I appreciate you coming in. I've had the Portwood, which are 46%. Okay, yeah. So maybe the Portwood was 46%. That's probably a good call. This one is definitely 59.8%, 211 bottles worldwide. I think it's cool that we're getting this kind of stuff, though. We're able to offer these kind of interesting whiskies. As Andrew hinted at on our Facebook group, if you're not a member of, you should be. He's hinted at there's some great American single malts, ryes, and bourbons coming through. They're still in production at the moment. We should see them maybe by the end of the year. But all good things take time, and I think 9 years is quite a long way. And there we go. Jim Finnegan, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Legend is a Madeira finished single malt whiskey bottled at 41% ABV, 43 in the US. Yeah, this feels like a copy and paste, so it's probably very accurate if it's off the web here. There we go. Ex-peated quarter cask. I've put it up on screen so everyone can read that. But it's so there you go. They bring them down to 41, 43, etc. And maybe the 46% one or something as well. Not sure. But you know what? Either way, that's a blank comment from you, James. I can't, unless that's an image. I don't think this platform supports image posting as a comment. Anyway, so that's where we're up to. I want to bring up the next slide. There's some stuff happening in Outturn, which is well worth remarking on in the event side of things. Okay, we're keeping it very, very, very on the what's the word for it? See how we go. Here we go. So in August, we're going to have the 5-flavor Forte virtual tasting. So this is it's triple fortissimo time. I've picked out what I like to think of as some remarkable big whiskeys and diverse lineup again of 5 different flavor profiles. So it's 5 30ml drams, just like the last couple of months, where it's going to be sent out. We'll do the virtual tasting on Thursday, the 27th of August. There it is on the screen. I'll bring it up. It's better than me holding this up. Play it by ear. I'm off. Have a good one, everyone. Happy drooling. Yeah, you're welcome. There we go. Virtual tasting, the 5-flavor Forte. Try saying that after 5 drams. It's a tricky one. And if you want to mark your, oh, there I am. No, but if you want to mark your calendars now, I'll bring it across here. Thursday, 27th of August, 7 p.m. So mark your calendar. That's going to happen. Andrew and I will host it live, and we'll it'll be a great night. That one is going ahead regardless. However, there's some other events in Outturn, and I'm just choosing my words carefully here, but like everyone at the moment, we don't know what's going on around Australia, around the world. We don't know if there's a second wave of lockdown in New South Wales or Queensland or whatever. So they are going ahead, all of these events. We'd love to see you at them if you feel comfortable being at them, and we'd love for you to be there. And so we can share some whiskey and do this with you all next month coming up. Words. Oh, here we go. Now, this is the first preview. Here we go. The pop-up is back. Now, I'm sorry. If you're in Victoria, you're not going to get much love out of this one. I'm sorry. But here is the Archie Rose pop-up is back with Archie Rose and SMWS. It's a bit different this year. Thursday to Saturday, 20th to 22nd of August. We're taking over upstairs and downstairs of Archie Rose. 3 nights only, 4:30 p.m. onwards each day. Historical releases, new preview casks, one-off ambassador cocktails. You read that right. One-off ambassador cocktails. It's going to get bad. You know, I can't make cocktails. You'll find out for real. And then member-only pours. All available by the dram with full social distancing. Bar bookings are essential, which goes towards all your drinks. And then we've got 3 events. Challenge the panel. So that's where we're going to have 6 whiskeys, and we're going to taste through them, and you get to try and pick them apart, and we'll be us versus the SMWS tasting panel. Then we've got Heresy History. Yes, we're opening all the previous Heresy bottlings from the Society, from Exotic Cargo onwards. That's kind of cool. And then we've got SMWS members-only distillery tour, where we're going to be opening a preview Archie Rose single malt straight from the cask and sharing it with members. That's $10, that event, by the way. It's just bookings are essential for all 3 of these. Archie Rose are ticketing the Challenge the panel, but we're ticketing the bottom 2 here. And we hope to see you at all of them. Of course, after the event finishes, just come join us at the bar and grab a drink at Archie Rose. So we're going to be supporting them as a great partner bar as they are, and we'll be having lots of fun with them. Keen for a virtual. Dr. Akers, so am I. I love doing them. Andrew and I love doing them. You can probably tell how much fun we have when we do them. We're bouncing all sorts of nonsense off each other and having a blast with it. It's just meant to be fun, and in sharing some drams and having a good time. There are also some other events, however, on that page, which I'm going to bring up now. He says, okay, so Andrew is returning with the Grand Tour of Speyside. It was booked to happen, I think, in February or March, somewhere around there. COVID hit, no such luck. So Andrew's bringing it back on the 4th of September, Friday, 4th of September. That was just my photo of a nice sort of photo of Speyside there. So that's coming back on Friday, the 4th of September. That's in Outturn, which will be revealed tomorrow, of course. And then after that, we've got Brisbane. Roaring 20s are back into the swing with things on Friday, the 21st of August. Love you guys in Brisbane. I think that event is almost sold out, actually. It's already on the website. But, we do what we can. So I really appreciate you all tuning in, having a chat with me tonight about some of the basics of Outturn. I will do how to get the most out of Outturn refresher session next week coming up. But the last little nugget of big news I wanted to give you all tonight. Virtual Pub is coming to Australia next Friday on Outturn night, on the night time of the Friday. This one's for you, Victoria. Melburnians, this one is especially for you. We're doing Virtual Pub. We'll have tastings. We'll have special guests. We'll have live music, all live virtually like you're seeing here right now. And we get to share this experience with you all. It's going to be so much fun. Everyone around Australia is welcome to join in, of course. But we are doing this whole virtual with them, with these artists. So we're going to have live music and tastings and special guests tuning in and having a chat with me. I've had a lot of special guests on this show. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have some repeat visitors. You'll see. But we're actually hope we'll have actually one definitely new, but maybe two. But it's next Friday week from today. We're going to do a special virtual pub, which is going to have all these amazing guests and live music, and it starts at 7 p.m. next Friday, the 7th of August. Victorians, we're doing this one for you. There's no ticket to buy. There's no whiskey pack to buy. There's no virtual attached with it. Nothing like that. This one's on us. We want to make sure that we look after our members. You've got something to do on a Friday night. Join us live. Ask some questions. Have a chat. It's going to be so much fun. It's next Friday night, 7 p.m., the 7th of August, the night after the midday outturn. All that we ask is that you bring something along. Have a dram with us, and just and share along in the live of it. And we'll see how many production and broadcast hiccups we can avoid, and have some live music actually in the stream, which we'll be crossing over to at different times. And it's all the details are molding together right now, so I can't reveal too much just yet. But it's going to be a lot of fun to have all these people coming together, and we'll be raising a dram for Melbourne that night. So especially if you're living in Melbourne and you're in lockdown at the moment, and you will be next Friday as well, we encourage you to join us for Virtual Pub. It's going to be great. SMWS Virtual Pub will be our hashtag for it. We're going to be live. I'm also doing member giveaways on the night. That's correct. Member giveaways. We're going to be giving away whiskey. We're going to be giving away vouchers. We're going to be giving away fresh merch. Yes, fresh merch. That was my last little Easter egg. We've got some new T-shirts coming and some new hoodies. They're all in Outturn. I'll reveal that tomorrow. In the meantime, you know what? Everyone have a great night. I'm really excited for you to all join the Virtual Pub. I'm excited for this week's virtual tastings coming up next week. Sorry, I should say. Outturns next week, of course, which I'm always excited for. And we're looking forward to building all these great things you can read about for each whiskey into our website as we move forward as well. Lots of things happening there. You can actually read about Malt of the Month already. It's on our website right now. The whiskey isn't, but you can read about it. smws.com.au/news. Check out that latest article about Distillery 12. And I will see you all very soon. Melburnians, you guys need hoodies. That's right. You guys need the hoodies. So Sam Licardi, good to see you, mate. You're going to need one of these hoodies. And the hoodies and the hoodies and everything are all going to be on the website on Outturn Day as well. But I'm going to do some giveaways that night. So might get lucky. You know what? But it's not just those. I'm going to be giving away whiskey samples. I'm going to be giving away all sorts of vouchers, all sorts of stuff. I've got all these goodies in these cubbies behind me here that I want to give away to members whilst they're stuck at home. So lots of fun to have, live music, and it's going to be a great night. In the meantime, you have yourself a great evening. Thanks for joining in on virtual live with SMWS again tonight. Raise a dram, Sanjivar, and I will see you all soon. See how we go. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.